Good morning to all the members of the Madras Tax Bar and friends. Today we are back with another webinar after a long break, I should say. This is the 129th webinar, and I thank Pallavi and Sanjana for coming up with this topic. So before we start with the session, I would like to congratulate all the members of Madras Tax Bar who have been newly appointed and reappointed as standing counsels for the customs and GST panel. So on behalf of Madras Tax Bar, I congratulate everyone and wish them all success in their endeavor in the future. So thank you once again for all to join us today. And I hand over the session to Pallavi and Sanjana to take it forward. End of the round, we will have the question answer session where you can unmute yourselves. I'm not going to control the audio or the mic. So it's but during the session, I request all of you to please stay muted. So thank you once again for joining us. Over to you, Pallavi.
Yeah,
you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sanjana, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, Sanjana. Vanditingla. Good morning.
Very good morning, Pallavi. Seems like நீங்க ரொம்ப பிஸியா இருக்கீங்க. Yesterday also I was not able to get hold of you. Madam was always on the phone. What is happening in your life, huh?
Yes, Sanjana, what to do? You know, these clients, they kept calling me. They had to clarify so many doubts and they were hell-bent to know all the recent updates on GST. So I was like literally busy with speaking to them and clarifying their doubts.
Oh, since you are whole day on call, I thought some good news will be that what is this you are saying you are talking to client and all. Okay, anyway, since you are been talking about recent updates on GST, then you must have known about this QRMP scheme, no?
Scheme? I mean, QRMP. What do you mean, Sanjana? Like, what scheme are you talking about?
What? It is the quarterly return monthly payment scheme, yeah. It was going viral on all the social media since past month. How come you are not aware of this?
Oh, what an acronym, I say. I mean, yes, like, I have read about this and a lot of materials are also circulated on WhatsApp. Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Yeah, I have also read about it. What do you say? Shall we discuss about this scheme to understand it in a better way?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's a new scheme, we should actually discuss about it. Sanjana, like, if I'm correct, like the GST Council they had recommended that if a registered person who's having an aggregate turnover of say 5 crores, they may be allowed to furnish their returns on quarterly basis and make their payment of tax on monthly basis. Is that what this scheme is all about?
Yeah, I think it's what it is about. I don't understand what is so big deal in it. Already quarterly return filing facilities available, right?
See, there is a catch there. At present, GSTR 1 can be filed on quarterly basis, but GSTR 3B has to be filed only on monthly basis.
Oh, what is the difference between GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B?
See, every registered person, he will furnish the returns in form GSTR 1 on monthly basis, and this will contain all the details of their outward supplies made. Okay, but quarterly facility is also available for those taxpayers whose aggregate turnover is below 1.5 crores in the preceding financial year. But with GSTR 3B, it is nothing but a summary of the monthly return. It will contain details such as the inward supplies made, the outward supplies made, the ITC credit availed, the tax payable, and the tax amount to be paid. So now, when they are bringing this scheme into force, they are making sure that the quarterly facility is also available for GSTR 3B, which is like made on monthly basis. Sanjana, can you explain about the relevant notifications in this regard?
Yeah, sure. See, earlier Section 39 of the CGST Act was amended to enable filing of quarterly returns. Now, this amendment has been notified by notification number 81 of 2020. And also, as per notification number 84 of 2020, which will be coming into force with effect from 1st January of 2021, a registered person having an aggregate turnover up to rupees 5 crores in the preceding financial year are eligible for this scheme.
Okay, say for now, like I opt this particular scheme and my aggregate turnover exceeds 5 crores. Am I still eligible for this scheme?
See, if the aggregate turnover of a registered person exceeds 5 crore during any quarter in the current financial year, then they'll not be eligible for the scheme from the next quarter onwards.
Okay. So on what basis is this 5 crore aggregate turnover is calculated? I mean, do they prescribe any formula or is there any conditions prescribed?
Actually, it's very simple. See, it will be automatically calculated in the common portal based on the details furnished in the returns by the taxpayer for the tax periods in the preceding financial year.
Okay, okay. Now, see, like if I have a registration in many states, okay, I've also obtained separate registrations in all states. But my total turnover, if you see, all put together is more than 5 crores. But individually, if you see, my turnover in some of the states is less than 5 crores. Am I still eligible for this QRNT scheme?
Yes, of course. See, this particular thing has also been clarified by the board through circular number 143 on 10th of November, as per which even the distinct persons have the option to avail the scheme and for one or more GSTNs. The most important thing to be noted here, no Pallavi, is that if few persons with the GSTN are willing to opt for the scheme and the remaining persons are not willing to do so, they have option to not opt for the scheme also. That is actually a plus thing in this scheme. And one more thing is the turnover limit will be calculated based on the GST and not on the PAN wise. So that is actually one of the plus thing about this scheme.
Oh yeah, it's like a great move. Okay, but you know, like, have they prescribed any time limit to exercise this particular scheme? Like, you know, like from this month to this month, we have to exercise. I mean, have they prescribed any time limit for that?
Yeah. See, actually, this scheme will be available in the portal throughout the year. And a new rule 61A has been introduced, as per which a registered person can opt in for any quarter from the first day of the second month of the preceding quarter to the last day of the first month of the relevant quarter. But
one second, Sanjana. Sorry for cutting you in between.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, like, I'll just give you an example. Just let me know if I have understood it correctly. So
Okay.
You're saying, like, if a taxpayer who wants to avail this particular scheme, say for the quarter July to September, then he has to exercise this option between 1st May to July 31st. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. But
Okay.
one more thing to be noted here is that in order to exercise this option, he must have furnished the last return on the date of exercising this option. If he has not furnished his last return, then he'll not be eligible for the scheme.
So, like, again, for example, you are saying that if a person is opting for this scheme, say on the 27th July, for the quarter July to September, then he should have furnished his returns for the month of June on 22nd or 24th of July. That is what are you like? That's what are you saying?
Yeah, of course. You're right. You have understood it perfectly.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjana. See, I have a basic doubt. Like, when they're exercising this particular option, do they have to exercise this option every quarter?
Of course not. The taxpayer need not exercise this option every quarter. Once they have opted for the scheme, they shall continue to furnish their return as per the selected option for future period as well, unless they decide to revise it if they wish.
Oh, so the taxpayer have the option to revise that as well. Okay.
Yeah, of course. They do have that option in the scheme.
Mm-hmm. See, somewhere I've read that this particular scheme is based on the past behavior of the taxpayer, meaning the portal will automatically choose an appropriate option for all the taxpayers. Can you just throw some light on that?
Of course, Pallavi. See, the default option has been provided for the convenience of the registered person who have furnished their returns in Form GSTR 3B for the month of October 2020 by 30th of November 2020. You may also be aware that now quarterly filing of GSTR 1 is available for those whose turnover is below 1.5 crore. Through this scheme, the turnover limit for quarterly filing is now rupees 5 crore. So what happens is those who are already filing GSTR 1 on quarterly basis, by default, they will be migrated in the common portal as for quarterly basis only. Okay, and for those whose turnover is up to 1.5 crore, but who are already filing their GSTR 1 on monthly basis, by default, they would be migrated to monthly option under this scheme. And also for those whose aggregate turnover is above 1.5 crore, but below or up to 5 crores, then they would be migrated to quarterly option under this scheme. See, though this default option and all is there, however, the taxpayers are always free to change the option if they so desire from 5th day of December to 31st day of January 2021.
Okay. So, like, if a person who is opting to file GSTR 3B on quarterly basis by opting the scheme, do they still have to file GSTR 1 on monthly basis?
No, of course not. They need not file GSTR 1 on monthly basis and all.
Then in that case, how will the recipient, file their ITC immediately? I mean, there are buyers who would want to take the credit as soon as possible. So what will happen to those ITC?
Actually, that is a valid question, The department is also aware of this. That is why they made a provision for this also. See, in order to enable the recipients of supplies to avail the ITC immediately, they have introduced an invoice furnishing facility, which is also called IFF in the common portal, where the supplier can upload invoices between first day of the succeeding month till 13th day of the succeeding month. Okay, for your better understanding, I'll give you one example, okay? See, for the month of January 2021, the IFF will be available from 1st February to 13th February 2021. See, this facility is only optional. It is not exactly mandatory. It might be helpful for B2B transactions, but it will not be needed for B2C transaction.
So you mean instead of filing GSTR 1, they have to upload all the invoices in IFF. There is an old saying, old wine in new bottle. I think that is what it is happening in this particular scheme. But don't you think, this is like it would be a repetitive task that, again, they have to repeat this while filing GSTR 1?
Of course not. Why do they have to repeat it? See, the invoice furnished in IFF in the first 2 months are not required to be furnished again in Form GSTR 1. The details of the invoices furnished using IFF will be auto-populated, and only those remaining invoices which has not been furnished or uploaded in IFF, they have to furnish it in GSTR 1 for that quarter.
See, but somewhere I don't understand, why is there a monetary limit of 50 lakhs to upload, the invoices in IFF? I mean, I don't really understand, because this particular scheme is for those people who has an annual turnover of rupees 5 crores, which basically means on an average, if you see, the monthly turnover is less than 50 lakhs. So it doesn't, I don't know why is there a monetary limit anyway. But further, see, they also have to keep track on those invoices that has been uploaded on IFF and those invoices which are not uploaded in the IFF. So, is this GST really like a good simple tax? I mean, for me, it is like a great source of tension.
You are always about tension. See, GST is not that complicated, okay? Yeah, of course, there are so many amendments and all, but it is not really that complicated to the extent you are portraying it, my friend.
Anyway, now come, we've understood what QR is. Now, what about MP, the monthly payment?
Yeah, you're right. We have understood somewhat about the quarterly returns. Now let's move on to the monthly payment. See, Under this scheme, they are required to pay the tax due in each of the first 2 months of the quarter by depositing due amount in Form GST PMT 06 on or before 25th day of the succeeding month. But you know, Pallavi, it is sufficient if the tax is deposited in the electronic cash ledger only. It need not be transferred to the government account at all.
Like, are you serious, Sanjana? Then, you know, why are they troubling the taxpayer to make this monthly payment when the payment is actually not going into the pockets of the government? I mean, it would have been actually very easy where, you know, both the tax payment and the returns could be furnished on quarterly basis. Okay, now since they are going to make payment on monthly basis, what is the basis on which they are going to calculate this taxable amount?
See, where there is a will, there is a way. This is why they have bought two options. One is the fixed sum method and the second is the self-assessment method.
See, self-assessment method is basically I would calculate my liability for the first 2 months and then make my payment. Okay, but what is this fixed sum method? This is a new concept altogether.
Yeah, see, under fixed sum method, if the taxpayer was filing quarterly return earlier, an amount equal to 35% of the tax paid in cash in the preceding quarter has to be deposited in the first 2 months of the current quarter.
Okay. So you're saying, for example, if A has paid a total amount of rupees 100 in cash as tax liability for the quarter, that is, for example, for October to December, he has paid rupees 100 as his tax liability. Okay. Then when he's opting this particular scheme, he has to pay rupees 35 each on 25th of February as well as 25th of March 2021 for discharging his tax liability for the first 2 months. First 2 months of the quarter, which is January and February 2021. Am I right? Like, have I understood this?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
See, now I have told you about quarterly returns, no? Now, see, if the taxpayer was filing monthly returns earlier means, then the amount equal to the tax paid in cash in last month of the immediately preceding quarter has to be deposited.
So you're basically saying that if A has filed monthly return for December 2020, okay, and an amount of 100 in cash as tax, and he has paid an amount of rupees 100 in cash as his tax liability. Then when he's opting this particular scheme, he has to pay 100 each on 25th of February and 25th of March 2021 for discharging his liability for the first 2 months of the quarter, that is January and February 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. See, now there is another another doubt that I have. What will happen if the taxpayer has an adequate balance in his electronic cash ledger? Do they still have to deposit the fixed sum amount?
No, of course not. See, in case the balance in the electronic cash ledger is adequate for the tax due to be deposited in the first and second month of the quarter, or where there is a nil tax liability, there is absolutely no need for them to deposit any amount at all.
Okay. So now tell me, like, if the taxpayer is not paid his tax within the due date for each month, does he have to pay any interest?
Yeah, see, in case of self-assessment method, interest would be payable beyond the due date. Okay, for fixed sum method, no interest will be payable if the entire tax liability is paid within the due date of filing the quarterly return.
Okay. So now, now you just tell me, what if the person's tax liability is more than the tax due deposited for each month under this fixed sum method? Do they have to pay interest on the differential amount?
Okay, so your question is, we are required to pay 35% of the tax in month of February for the month of January. Now you are asking me, what if my tax liability exceeds the 35% which I have already deposited? Do I have to pay interest for the differential amount? That is your question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No interest would be payable for the short payment during the first 2 months, provided that he discharges his entire liability for the quarter within the due date. See, only if they have not deposited the entire tax by the due date, only then interest would be payable from the due date of furnishing the quarterly return till the date of making such payment.
Okay. Okay. See, now we've dealt with interest payment. Now I would come to the late fee. Like if the taxpayer is furnishing the returns belatedly, does he have to make any late fee? Like, does he have to make a payment of late fee or anything like that?
Of course, the one who makes the mistake has to pay for it, right? Of course, late fee is applicable in case if they fail to furnish the return or they made it belatedly.
Sanjana, you see, I'm not very sure how beneficial this scheme is going to be. There are so many conditions that is being put forth. Though they are saying that, they're going to simplify things, but it is just getting complicated. It might be not beneficial for those who are making B2B supplies. As these buyers would insist on for uploading the invoices immediately. But maybe it could be beneficial for those who are making B2C supply. It could be like beneficial for them. What do you say?
You are always negative when it comes to GST. I don't know why. See, the government seriously wants to simplify things. At the same time, they should take care of the evasion also. See how many fraud cases are happening around. We cannot always blame the government,
Oh, I seriously forgot that you're a pro-government person. I think you're still in that zone. You've not come out from your role of the departmental person that you played during the drama of Graha Pravesham. Anyway, I just wanted to know, is there any due dates for filing these returns?
Of course, there is. To put it simply, for the monthly return filing, for the monthly return filers, the due date of filing GSTR1 is 11th day of the succeeding month. And for the GSTR3B, it is 20th of the succeeding month. For the quarterly return filers, GSTR1 is 13th of the succeeding month and GSTR3B is divided into two due dates for different states. One is on 22nd and the remaining is on 24th of the succeeding month.
Oh my God, there are so many due dates that we have to remember. Now we have to we have to set a reminder in our calendars. Otherwise we'll forget all these due dates. Anyway, Thank you, Sanjana. I mean, we've actually had a great conversation. We've at least discussed about this. Thank you for explaining the concept so well.
Yeah, sure, Pallavi. Okay. That's it, sir.
Thank you. Prithvi, yes.
Thank you very much, Pallavi and Sanjana. I think it was a very interesting round, and the debate also here and there on pro GST and the complications in GST also made it very interesting. And I think from here we can have a good conversation amongst all the members who can tell what are the pros and cons of the new scheme. And if there are any questions also, we can take up in the interaction round. So participants, the floor is all yours. If anyone is having any doubt, you can come forward. And if anyone wants to supplement to the topic at hand, you're most welcome to come forward and share your views with us. Thank you. You can unmute your mic yourself. Yes, sir. Go Ganeshan, sir.
Yes,
you can start.
Very good presentation, madams. My only one question is, suppose if the small scale fellow who opted for this scheme has got a sufficient balance in his input tax credit, how to take this into computation and pay the tax? Suppose I have to pay first 2 months, I have to pay before this due date by challan, all these things. But if I have got input tax credit, I have to take that into consideration before making the final payment of the cash. You know that?
Yes, sir. See, in the circular only, they have specifically clarified that in case if you have an adequate balance in your electronic cash or credit ledger, then you no need of depositing this 35% amount at all.
Agree with you. Suppose if there is a shortfall, suppose if I have to pay 100, my input tax only 40 rupees, then how to take this into account?
Then you have to pay that entire 35% only. You have to deposit the entire 35% only. For the remaining, while you are making some other payment or subsequent for the next quarter, you can, use it for that quarter instead of this quarter.
Okay. You mean to say that suppose if the credit balance is up to 35%, you need not pay. That's what your argument is. Am I correct? If it is less than
Yes,
35%,
sir.
huh?
Yes.
So you have to see whether your input tax credit is equal to 35% or less than 35%.
Yes, sir.
If it is less than 35%, you have to pay the 35% balance only or full 35%.
In fact, we have to see under which option they are. One is the self-assessment method and the other one is the fixed sum method. If you are under the fixed sum method, whatever amount you have paid in cash during the preceding quarter or the preceding month, if you are a monthly filer, if you are a quarterly filer previously, 35% of the amount has to be paid. If you are a monthly person, whatever you have paid on the last month in cash, you have to deposit equivalent amount of cash here. Now, if you are under the self-assessment method, if you are not opted for the fixed sum method and if you are under the self-assessment method, your liability for the first month of current quarter is, let us say, 1 lakh. Your balance in your electronic cash ledger and credit ledger put together is equal to 1 lakh or even more than 1 lakh. Then you don't have to pay anything under the self-assessment method. When it comes to the second month, your first month liability is 1 lakh. In the second month liability, another 1 lakh, totally your liability becomes 2 lakhs. But by the time your balance in your credit ledger and cash ledger put together, if it is more than 2 lakhs, again, you don't have to pay anything. If it falls short of the 2 lakh, you have to pay.
Thank you, sir. See here, after going through this discussion and the notification circulars, everything, how do you expect a small scale person to go and get into, because anyway, your customer Ashok Leyland or any big people, they want a monthly credit. So they want you to go and feed all the invoices in the system so that they can take the credit, and you adjust in your quarterly returns, everything, but you have to file the invoices on a monthly basis. Why should you go for an option? I will go for the normal method. I'll file everything on the GSTR1 itself and pay the tax on a monthly basis so that I need not go into the trouble. Because to understand the system itself, you are right. You explained right. Very good. But as a common man, so small scale whose turnover is only 2 crores and he depends mainly on the big manufacturers as a vendor, very difficult for him to understand. That's why I'm telling you. The intention is I give you earlier quarterly returns and quarterly payment. I'm very happy. Today you say monthly payment or monthly return, that's enough. But I'll give you quarterly return, but you make the payment monthly means, and again the purpose of going for the quarterly is only to avoid the payment. He can shift the payment to the quarter instead of monthly payment, even though he get the money from the customers in his invoices. But today that is sealed, you know that you have to pay monthly basis only. So looking into this angle, how this is going to be advantage for the small scale fellows? That's my question, madam.
Karnesan, I think you are right. Government is also a commercial entity now. They also need funds to finance their project. They are also, after the COVID, not able to realize full amount. So they give you a concession to pay 35% in cash so that they will get something to the kitty. That is the scheme. It is, even though it is told it is for the small.
No, the point is that amount is not going to government's kitty at all. We are only crediting it in the cash ledger, so which they could have even avoided rather.
Because unless return is filed and the revenue is shared, then only it goes to revenue, the respective states or central or whatever it may be. See, you just make it as a deposit in your cash ledger. It's going to the bank account of the government, GST account of the government, but it's not going to the kitty of the state. Am I correct, sir?
No, central government gets that money.
No, central government is getting the money, sir. It is in the bank, but it cannot be treated as a revenue for them unless you file your complete return and the revenue is accounted and shared between the 9 plus 9, whatever it may be. Why I'm telling you?
That is all procedural, sir. Money has come to me. It is in usage. It is being used by bank. That is what they are looking into.
So now, suppose there is a delay in payment. but it is the interest should be calculated from the date of return or date of delay in payment, because it's a monthly payment but quarterly return. Okay. Now, how is the interest calculated? Which is the starting date for calculation of interest? Because it is only credited into the cash ledger or the credit ledger. It's so when is it from? Which is the date from which the interest is calculated?
Ma'am, for this, see, they have to make the deposit the 25th of the succeeding month. Say for January, February, March quarter, for January month, they have to deposit on 25th of February. In case if they fail to deposit on 25th of February, then from the 25th onwards until the due date of filing the return, or they discharge the tax liability in their return, no, until then, the interest will be calculated.
It's quite a draconian one, because see, the date of filing of return should be the starting date, according to me.
There are two types. One is this, let us assume that they are under the fixed sum method. The 35% whatever based on the previous quarter, they have paid on 25th. No delay on that, let us assume. But ultimately it turns out next quarter their business has improved, their tax liability is more. Even then, for the shortage of 35%, they will not be asked to pay any interest. This is the first part of it. Second, that 35%.
That's a fixed sum. That is a
fixed sum. So even though it may change by either ways, there is no liability so long as 35% of the previous month or previous quarter is paid on the due date. Now, suppose that is not paid, then the interest liability will start running only from the due date for filing the return of 3B.
That is what I'm saying.
That is what you meant, that will be only for non-pay.
Because
after all, yes.
Yeah, because amount is getting credited into the cash ledger only.
Yes, no? Yes. It is not going to the
Therefore,
government.
How can the interest be calculated from the date of the due date of payment?
Yes, it should be from the date of due date for filing the GST or 3B return.
Yes. Thank you.
So they seem to have kept 35% as monthly payment and calculate the interest. They don't go into the returns. They say date of payment is monthly if you're paying 35%. So if you don't pay that 35% in time, probably they are charging. This is totally changing the existing pattern of 3 months to 1 month now.
Correct.
And reducing it to 35%.
Doesn't seem to be a very advantageous scheme.
No, it is advantageous to the government, according to me.
Not only advantage to government, it's a cumbersome procedure for the assessee. See,
Correct.
if I go for 3 months return instead of not opting this, I'm very safe. I'll pay there and I will go, but I'll go on third month. I'll pay everything, and I will.
But what exactly is the government trying to achieve in this is the question, moot question. See, because the amount is not getting credited into the coffers, okay, it is only getting credited into the cash ledger. Therefore, what is the advantage? I'm wondering to the government. I'm saying.
That's what Mr. Viswanathan explained. Government is getting their money in their bank account, whatever it may be, they can.
But how does it matter? I mean, unless we pay into the coffers, it is not the government money at all at that point of time, no? I don't know.
Nationalized bank, they use the money, economy of the bank grows, they are able
Probably.
to fund further.
No, I'm asking about the advantage to the government.
No, the government only is planning. No, they have to fund everywhere. They have to circulate money. Money is to come into flow. That is the purpose. But I don't know whether they have arranged the system previously. Even if you want to file a return, if there is any short payment, you can't file the system. The system is so badly maintained. Now calculating 35%, again filing final return, calculating interest. For all that, have they provided the system properly?
Now, the 35% is supposed to be calculated by the system, and the challan will be automatically created. That is what they have said in the circular. We have to see how effectively it works.
Because we have already got so many problems in the administration of the portal. Added to that, this also 35% calculation interest. God knows how the small industries are going to do it.
We'll probably have another Section 50 batch on this. Huh?
You will get a lot of litigation.
You.
If I get you also get, madam, both of us are there.
No, ease of doing business is question now.
Correct.
See, anyway, it is only an option. People who don't want, they will continue to file on monthly
That's
basis.
what I'm telling you. Instead of going all these hurdles, I will continue with 3 months. But only thing, I have to keep my invoices on a monthly basis in the system so that the other man cannot have any problem to avail the input as credit. That's the only way we can.
And they are trying to bring it to a small scale industry. They could have left it as it is. Once in 3 months you pay.
That's all.
That would have been better for them. They are not going to target the big fellows. Only small fellows are going to come in or not come in this scheme.
Or earlier in the sale tax, they have got an advance. They fix the amount every month you pay. Then assessment will be taken care at the year end. Like that, they will ask them to pay some amount without any assessment. You will match it at the time of filing your quarterly return and
Provisional deposit scheme.
Yes.
They could have applied this 35% for 1 year and finalized it after 1 year. At least people will be happy. Instead of catching them by the neck in the 3rd month.
This is another. See, you have to wait for another one. You have to go for the online invoices for 100 crores people. All these things. Another thing is that there is another issue is coming.
Anyway, it is your subject, organization. You have been arguing this in the group.
Anyway, well done, Sanjana and Pallavi.
But the
You
girls
did very
have
well.
done exceedingly well.
Very well. The way it was, the program was presented was very nice, very interesting. So keep it up.
Thank you, mom. Thank you so much.